one of the leaders right here in the yeah. Exactly. Good to see you. Always good to be here. You all right? The last time we were at the festival, how many did we have? Yeah, we had over 1,000 people, right? How many did we have? Over 1,000 people. Great. Very, we're working very closely together.
Because if you're downstairs, you know about Veasey.
Everyone, thank you very much for being here. I'm Veasey, Congressman for the 33rd Congressional District, and appreciate you being here this afternoon for what's a very important topic. As you know, comprehensive immigration reform is going to be one of the most important items that we will hopefully tackle in Congress this year. And I'm glad that you're here so we can have your feedback and so you can hear from the panelists today. But before I go any further, I do want to introduce the president of this campus and want to thank him for allowing us to host this on this campus, and that is President Felix Zamora.
Well, thanks for being here today. We want to welcome you. The mission at Mountain View College is to empower people and transform communities. This hearing today is one example of that mission. We want to inform you, empower you, so that our community will transform into a better, more productive one. And so thank you. We're delighted to have our new congressman on campus and want to always welcome you back anytime. And not to mention our state rep, our trustee, Garo Flores. Where are you, man? Okay. And of course, the chancellor of our district, Dr. Lassiger. That's about all the time I have. Welcome. Come back and see us again.
Mr. President, thank you very much. And I would also like to thank our moderator today, Andrea Rega from Univision News. She is an anchor, and she is also nominated for an Emmy 4 times. That's a big deal. And I also would like to thank all of our elected officials, our community leaders that are here today, and all the students that have taken time off to discuss this very important topic. In my opinion, comprehensive immigration reform is the civil rights issue of today. And I want to thank many of our young people that are here. I know that we have many young people here that are involved in the Dreamers movement, because by you standing up for this very important issue is very similar to civil rights back in the 1950s and 60s, when it was students. If you look back at history, the students that led the sit-ins at the counters, that rode on the Greyhound buses for equality back then, it was young people. And you are on the leading edge of making real change in this country. And I want to thank you for all your perseverance and everything that you're doing. Immigration is a global issue. It is a global issue. It is about Latinos, people from the continent of Africa and Nigeria that we have here in the Midway. It is about the entire world coming together here in the United States to do the right thing for these families. I also want everyone to know that, because this is a new office, Congressional District 33, I want you to know that the office is a resource for you. Please be sure to call the office. We have some of the staff that are here today that work in both the Fort Worth and the Dallas office. The Dallas office is right off of I-30 in Sylvan. If you have trouble with anything, with your parents, grandparents, Social Security, VA issues, I know that there's someone here that I've already talked to about VA issues, immigration issues, please be sure to call the office and use us as a resource. In every office that we have, in the DC office, the Fort Worth office, and the Dallas office, we have bilingual staff in every office. So please be sure to let everyone know that they can always call the office to get help. Also, as we get ready to move into the program, I want to give a very special thanks to my friend, Congressman Luis Gutierrez, someone that I've worked with since I was sworn into Congress on January the 3rd. He is a good man. His heart is in the right place. And I can tell you that he is serious about this issue, and he is a leader on this issue. And we have much thanks for what he has given to our country, and very honored that he would come to Dallas today to be with us. Thank you so much. Today's roundtable will be divided into two parts. We are going to hear from leaders on policy and legislation, and then we will hear from leaders in our community on business and on the very important topic of education. Congressman Gutierrez and State Representative Monica Alonso and State Representative Roberto Alonso, and Constable Beth Villarreal will be as part of the panel's first topic here. So we'll move right into that and get started. And Andre, again, thank you very much, and I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Well, I think it is working. So I'm going to do that. Sorry. Okay, this first round is going to be about quality, as you say, sir. And the first question, of course, is for you, Congressman Veasey, and you have 3 minutes to respond. Tell us about the different plans about comprehensive immigration reform and where we stand. That's the first question. And the second one, will we see that reform in this Congress?
Andrea, thank you very much. And there are 3 proposed plans. You probably have been hearing about those in the news. There's the Senate plan, the President's plan, and there is the House plan. Most of the things that you probably are seeing in the media are centered around the Senate bipartisan plan, which includes Senator Chuck Schumer out of New York, John McCain, Senator out of Arizona, of course, Dick Durbin out of Illinois, and Lindsey Graham out of South Carolina, Marco Rubio out of Florida, and Robert Menendez out of New Jersey. The Senate plan includes a path to citizenship and a more direct path to citizenship for Dreamers specifically. Right now, there's talk that under this proposal, the pathway to citizenship could take up to 13 years. The President, he has a 4-part proposal, and that is strengthening the borders, making sure that employers are put into the system, making sure that undocumented immigrants are accountable to earn their citizenship and learn English and pass the background check, and also update the legal immigration system for families, workers, and employers. And then there's a House plan, and it's bipartisan also, which includes Congressman Sam Johnson here in the Metroplex in the Collin County area. And then also Democrats, Becerra out of California, who's also been a very big help to me, Congressman Zoe Lofgren, and of course Congressman Gutierrez. And then there's the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, and their principles on immigration reform includes a pathway to citizenship for 11 million undocumented immigrants, focus on protecting the unity and sanctity of the family, and ending the exploitation of immigrant workers, attracting STEM professionals, which in the education arena you will always hear a lot about, and smart and reasonable enforcement of our borders. And I will turn it over to the chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Immigration Task Force, Congressman Gutierrez, to also talk a little bit about the plans. Is that okay, Angela? You're in charge.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to Congressman Veasey for inviting me to be out here. I look forward to working with you in the Congress of the United States. And I think you've arrived at a very exciting time. And I think you're going to be blessed to be a freshman congressman seeing the signing of a major piece of legislation for civil and human rights. And I look forward to working with you to accomplish that. So I'm excited to be here with you. And I want to thank the congressman. He's very important as we build a coalition. Now, I'm in between like a new friend, an important friend, and an old friend. Roberto and I, we've been at this for over 20 years. Last time we were here, we were with Pastor Veasey. He's here. We had over 2,000 people out at the church. As we traveled around the country, thank you so much. It was critical. Roberto knows, and I know that the pastor and he and others in our faith-based community opened up their churches, allowed thousands of people to come together to say, we've got to get it done, we have to stop the deportations that are causing such a destructive force in our communities. Today, they will deport 1,400 people from this country. 1,400, most of whom have no criminal background. 250 American citizen children will be left without a mom or dad today, and again tomorrow and every day, until Congressman Veasey and I, and the Congress of the United States, passes comprehensive immigration reform. So there is an urgency to the moment. Andrea, thank you for coming out. Yes, from Univision, estando aquí con nosotros. And I want to say thank you to everybody from Dallas. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to say to the constable, it's good to see you. I always like to sit at the table with the police instead of the other side. It's usually not the case. And thank you all for having me here. I look forward to a rich discussion here tonight. Gracias.
Okay, the next question is for you, Congressman Gutierrez. Does it matter which plan gets passed first?
Oh, does it matter which plan gets passed first? No. As long, okay, here's the way this is going to work, right? The House is going to pass a plan. It's going to be different than the Senate plan. The most important thing is that each one, in 2006, the Senate passed a comprehensive immigration plan in 2006 when Bush was president of the United States. Many people forget that, and it's because the Senate passed Sensenbrenner. So there was nothing to match up. Sensenbrenner was all enforcement. Sensenbrenner essentially was about every priest, every teacher, every friend telling on someone else and starting a police state in which everybody would have to be an informer and would have to inform on others. And then the Senate passed comprehensive immigration reform. There was nothing. So Andrea, I think the most important thing is the House proceed. It's a different element in the House. Republicans are in charge of the House. We're in a minority. Congressman Veasey and I are in a minority, but we're used to that. I was born that way. We're used to it, and we're used to struggling
struggling our way up. And then there'll be a plan in the Senate, which is obviously led by there's a Democratic control of the Senate. The most important thing is they finish and get their work done, and that the House finish and get their work done. Let's have a vote in the House, let's have a vote in the Senate, let's go to conference, and by the end, before the summer, before the 90 degrees start in the August across this country and hundreds, and it gets really hot, let's get really warmed up with comprehensive immigration reform, and let's make sure that there is a way to stop the deportation. So I really don't think, Andrea, I think there are going to be two plans. Here's what is critical and essential. That each plan allow a pathway to citizenship eventually. And it's not going to be a quick, fast, as in 1986, which was really, Roberto, remember, an amnesty. Basically signed up 18 months as a temporary resident and went on to permanent resident citizenship. That was fine in 1986. And we're thankful to Ronald Reagan and those who proposed that plan. That is not the plan of 2013. But there must be a plan that doesn't permit and doesn't allow for a permanent underclass in America. There was one time a permanent underclass. We had a civil war. We changed our constitution and we eliminated slavery. We never want to visit another permanent underclass in the United States.
What's the main difference, the crucial difference between those plans?
What do I think the crucial difference will be, Andrea, between the plans? I think they'll have different pathways for different people. Dreamers will probably go quicker. That is, just think, every plan will have a registration. That is, you come forward, you register with the government, you give them your fingerprints, and you register and you get right with the law. And both plans will then allow people to get a work permit, much as the Dreamers have today. They'll get a work permit. It'll probably last 4, 5, 6 years, and it'll be renewable. So both plans, you will register, you will get a work permit. Now, once you get that work permit, you will be able to travel. You'll get a Social Security card. You will be safely ensconced in the United States of America. You'll be asked to take English classes. Of course, we're going to look to this university, Mountain View, and others to teach those classes. And I hope, the government doesn't tell people you should learn English and then not provide the necessary classes and resources so people can learn the English language. I think they'll have different roles. Look, there's an agricultural community in 1986. It was different for those who worked in agriculture than those who worked in the city. So there'll be different roles. It'll be maybe different in terms, the fines may be different, right? The number of years you have to wait till you can become a citizen may be different. But essentially, to me, and I just want to share with everybody, essentially the first thing you've got to do, and the first thing each plan will do, is it will put people in a safe place. Just think of DACA. I just heard Congressman Veasey from one of the folks here that helps the students. He said that 1,000 students here at this institution have taken advantage of deferred action. Now, what does that mean? That all those 1,000 students were undocumented a few months ago. And today, they have a work permit, and they have Social Security cards, and they can get driver's licenses, and they can be integrated. That's the first step, and in that sense, they will be identical. What happens after that, and what the road to permanent residency, getting a green card, and to citizenship is, may be different. And let me just restate this so that we're absolutely clear. The first thing each and every plan has to do is allow people to stop from being deported from the United States and to make sure that those families get to stay here and they get to join a union, they get to do whatever it is they get to do. But the most important thing is that they're safe, once again, in their community.
If Republican like Senator Marco Rubio is now joined Democrats, like as you two guys, why can't Congress pass a plan like this more quickly?
Look, we have been at this now, and as you know, this is not my first trip to Dallas. But I hope the next time it's Congressman Veasey and I filling out documents so that people can get their cards and their work permits. I really do believe that. I think that's certainly what wakes me up and motivates me each and every moment. But look, I just want you to think, everybody. Think one moment. It's November 6th. It's the first thing in the morning. A vote hasn't been cast. What is the political reality on November 6th before one single vote has been cast. The Republicans said, self-deportation. O sea, haga su maleta y lárguese. I mean, this was in their platform. They said, if I'm president of the United States, I will veto the Dream Act. They said we should take SB 1070. This is in their platform. And we should replicate it in 49 other states. I mean, to go from there to the opportunity that Congressman Veasey and I have together to sign comprehensive immigration reform that allows people to stay in this country is a huge difference. And a lot of people say, well, why are they doing it? You know, sometimes democracy, Andrea, works. People go, vote, demand something, and those of us that are supposed to respect those demands actually get it done. So I see, and last, I think Senator McCain, my friend, I introduced comprehensive immigration reform in 2004. It was Kennedy McCain and Congressman Flake, now Senator Flake, and I in the House. You want to know something? He left us for a while. But what did he say last month? He said, I'm back. And they said, what has motivated? He said, politics. One word, politics. But if you really just try to extrapolate that a little bit, right? I want people to vote for me.
10 seconds.
I want people to vote for me. I want a community of people to listen to my positions, and they know that there is just a barrier. Unless you treat the most vulnerable among us right, we're not going to listen to your position on anything else.
Thank you. Roberto and Monica Alonso, this is for you. Please talk to us about the implication of this legislation at the state and local level. First, Roberto.
Okay. First at state level, I can tell you right now, there's a different tone than there was 2 years ago, Congressman. And before I go there, first I want to thank Congressman Veasey for setting this up. I know you said you were going to be there, and this is a way of showing it. And not only have you shown it by bringing in the biggest guy on immigration, and for him, because he's got a lot of places to go to come for Dallas, that's a big. So I want to thank you for doing it. I want to thank Congressman Gutierrez for being here. Thank you very much. I can tell you, as it relates to the state level, 2 years ago, Congressman and Congressman Veasey was there as well. We had big debates. We had, thousands of people showing up in Austin because of what's called sanctuary cities. A lot of people were scared, on state laws. And it got to a point, finally, it stopped because business said, we're not going to be like California and trying to pass bad immigration law. And I'll tell you, one of my speech on the floor of the House was the following. I said, members, I do not know why you're doing this bad immigration law, but I think I figured it out. The reason I think you're doing it is because you're afraid of a cucuy.
20 seconds.
I know you don't know what the cucuy is, I'm going to tell you, it's the boogeyman. There is no boogeyman because the President of the United States killed the boogeyman, which was Osama bin Laden. There's no more boogeyman. The difference between then and now, yesterday, I filed a law with the support of what's called the Texas Association of Business, which is the State Chamber of Commerce, to give undocumented workers a driver's license. That's the total difference right there.
Perfect. Monica. You have 1.5 minutes.
I think it's about, first of all, Congressmen, thank you very much. Us women, also, as we celebrate today, have a big part in this effort. For us, in Dallas, Texas, there are 9 women out of the 15 council members, okay? 14 council members, 1 mayor, and we all vote the same. But what's important is about keeping families together. Keeping families together. They tell us in Dallas, we want to make sure we have a good quality of life for our families, for our children. I'm working very hard to do that. And trust me, as they said earlier, you're done working? No, todavía no termino. But why? Because I believe I have that passion for the families. I have the passion for the citizens of Dallas, especially those that spend their money in Dallas, Texas. So I'm very pleased that you are here in Dallas as opposed to Fort Worth and all the respect. And you're gonna spend your money in Dallas for all of us. But it's important, seriously, on a serious note, it's very important that we all work together because in the end, es para la familia, las comunidades, the community, and that's what it's all about.
It's not for work, but it's District 33. Okay? The next question is for you, Monica, as well. What are some of the local issues that should be addressed in this immigration reform?
Well, and we talked about that, and that is to make sure that we work on a good one and that we focus on it, that we allow them to discuss it, but it also, in fairness, to be able to allow them to get it done and the pathway to citizenship, because, you know, we want to make sure that they are here comfortably and they continue what they're doing, again, for the families, and that's what I believe that it's all about, keeping the families together. Quality of life and making sure that everyone is treated equal.
Thank you, Monica. Next question is for Congressman Veasey and Gutierrez, and you have 1.5 minutes each to respond, okay? First question is, why is there so much backlog, and why is the wait for people to obtain permanent residency or citizenship so long?
Thank you, and that's one of the reasons why we need a comprehensive immigration reform today. In my opinion, if we pass a good bill, it will help deal with some of the delays that we have. Right now, we have about 4 million people in this country waiting to get a green card. Currently, once someone gets a green card, it takes 5 years to become a citizen. And of course, there are 2 ways to get a green card. There's employment-based, and depending on the country, it can be fast. And then there's family-based, like Monica just talked about a second ago, just how important keeping families together are. But if we come up and if Congress does the right thing, we act quickly, and we come up with a comprehensive immigration reform plan, I believe that it can help deal with some of the backlog issues if it's done right.
Congressman Gutierrez, for me it was 8 years. It took too long.
2 things. We have to understand that there are those that are coming through the system and using the system, and they're in line. And one of the basic fundamental concepts of comprehensive immigration reform is that those that have been waiting in line should have the first crack at becoming permanent residents. I mean, they're also waiting for their brothers and sisters and husbands and wives to come to them, and they're in their country of origin. But while those visas are being handed out, those green cards, we want to make sure that the rest of them can stay here and wait. So everybody's heard the thing, you don't want people to jump to the front of the line. Well, if there is a line, it could take up to 10 years for that line. That is, those that are legally waiting to come to the United States to arrive here. So let's let them get their permanent residency, reunite with their family while the rest of them are here, and immediately after we finish that. And there's another thing, and I know it's always complicated, right, Congressman? People like to think of human rights and civil rights. Well, there's budgetary issues, and there's something called the Congressional Budget Office. And they are going to score this. That is going to say, the congressman and I are going to come up with a plan, and then they're going to say, here's how much, Andre, they're going to say it costs. If the outlays are out over 10 years, more than 10 years, then the scores dramatically go down in terms of what the cost. Now, you and I both know that much like the dreamer who under DACA, who got his work permit, is working in my office, how does he get health care? He gets health care the same place Congressman Veasey and I get health care, right? He gets health care because he works for a member of Congress. He gets Blue Cross Blue Shield and he has the same. And that's where most people, but that's not the way they're going to. I know it's a technical issue, but you should understand that there are going to be monetary issues in terms of what it's going to cost. That's why when we pass DACA, all of those dreamers cannot access any health care provisions in our government for 10 years. Now you might say that was mean, but that was the cost of stopping them from getting deported and allowing them to have an improvement in their life.
Next question also for you. There is this discussion about sending people to the back of the line under the different proposals right now. Can we reform our immigration system so that the people obtain residency and the citizenship within a reasonable time frame?
Here's one thing that is happening in terms of the United States. That is, if you're a permanent resident, you come here with a green card, It takes you 5, 6 years to bring your wife and children from Mexico. Or 5 or 6 years to bring them from Venezuela or Guatemala legally. It takes years and years and years. You're legally admitted. You got a green card. Sometimes you become a citizen of the United States before your wife is legally admitted. Under the reform, one of the things we're doing is, if you arrive as a green card holder, you will be treated as though you're a citizen for the purposes of your wife or spouse, husband, and your minor children. What does that mean? The reform will entail a provision that says, si a ti te dan una tarjeta verde, traigan tu esposa y tus hijos contigo. And that has been a huge, I mean, a lot of times, a lot of people are here undocumented in this country because of the long wait to be reunited. So it's a great question. It's one of the things we want to fix in comprehensive immigration.
Perfect, thank you, Congressman. Well, finally, Constable, I'm Red Victoria. And I will give you 3 minutes because you had waiting so As a constable, can you talk to us about some of the challenges of the Secure Communities program, which often result in complaints of racial profiling?
Yes, and when I was invited to the roundtable discussion, I was thinking, you know what? There's a fine balance that I'm going to have to maintain as a law enforcement official, and then as a mom, as a mother-in-law, as a grandmother, because as the constable, the fine line for me is I'm not for breaking up families at all. But with the same token, we do have some people who are undocumented being detained right now who have committed criminal acts, who are repeat re-enters, how they come into the country, illegally over and over again. And
That's not criminal.
well, criminal acts. And with that, that's the balance that I have to maintain. Also, the secure communities. What is it? It's basically a federal database, and it's a network of shared information.
There's no discussion right now.
I think in the second round, the public viewer are going to be allowed to make all the questions that you want. Okay, thank you.
It's a database that is shared between ICE, which is Immigration, Customs and the Enforcement, and FBI. And what they do is they share fingerprints or information for any individual who is detained on their immigration status. With that, how it affects and how it rolls into complaints on racial profiling is it doesn't allow us, or it gives us set boundaries as far as the local and state level to, not allow us to ask questions such as, where were you born, where were your parents born, or even are you an American citizen? Those are questions that I wouldn't want to be asked. Those are questions I don't want my family members to be asked as well.
Okay. Well, lastly, due to the sequester, the Department of Homeland Security released recently, 2 weeks ago, undocumented immigrants. How does this relate to immigration reform, what Washington, D.C. is talking about right now?
I think the highest priority for any state and local agency is just to realize that our first priority is to protect the people we serve. But once we understand that the immigration reform is more for the federal to prioritize, then the sooner we can understand that, the sooner we can accept that. It goes back to, secure communities. I'm a huge advocate for training, for continued education. If we could just continue, continue to educate our officers, it'll keep us from asking those types of questions. It'll keep us from filtering over into the federal, process as far as the immigration reform.
Thank you, Constable Victoria. I think we can this round. We pass. Would you like to proceed?
Okay, next we are going to start the business and education roundtable part of our discussion. Let me briefly introduce the panelists for that particular part of the program. Dr. Wright Lassiter is the Chancellor for Dallas County Community Colleges here, and we want to thank him also for Dr. Irma Johnson Hadley is also a longtime friend and a constituent, and she is the Chancellor of the Tarrant County system. The Tarrant County. Thank Dr. Hadley. And then my good friend, Dr. David Alamil. Many of you know Dr. David Alamil as a business leader in the community that started a very large chain of dental clinics and someone that has been very involved on this topic of comprehensive immigration reform, how it relates to the community from a humanitarian standpoint, and also as a business leader. Dr. Alamil, thank you very much.